Hello everyone and welcome to the history class. Today we are going to talk about the Hundred Years' War. The Hundred Years' War between France and England started in 1337 and 1453 was the longest war that Europe has ever known. In the course of the centuries following the Norman conquest, the connection of England with the continent, as we have seen, had been broken. It was succeeded by a conflict, interest, and a growing feeling of antagonism that culminated in a long period of open hostility with France. A fun fact is that the Hundred Years' War didn't last 100 years. Actually, it lasted 116 years. During those years, long and exhausting campaigns always fought on French soil alternated with truce and long periods of peace.
Okay, let's go. King Edward III believed that he was the rightful heir to the French crown through his mother Isabella. He first laid claim to the throne when he was 15 years old, and King Charles IV of France died without a male heir. Instead of Edward, the French chose Philip to be their king. And when King Philip VI of France took control of Aquitaine from the English in the 1337, King Edward III decided to fight back. He decided to invade France and reserved his right to the French throne.
Edward did not attempt to conquer and control the land of the French. Instead, he led raids into the land called chevauchées. He would strike deep into the land of the French, burning crops, plundering cities, and causing devastation. The chevauchée was a particularly destructive kind of military raid prominent during the Hundred Years' War. In the 1350s, the army of King Edward III was led by his son, the valiant Edward the Black Prince. The Black Prince became a famous hero to the English and was known for his chivalry. The Black Prince led the English to major victories over the French. At the Battle of Poitiers, the Black Prince captured King John II, the current King of France.
The war drew people's attention back to the continent. The different expeditions could have tended to maintain the use of the French language. A fun fact, it did not have that effect, but rather the opposite. Probably intervals between periods of actually fighting were too long and the obstacle to trade and other intercourse too discouraging. The feeling that remained in the minds of most people was one of animosity, coupled with a sense of the inevitability to renewed hostilities.
Alright, many of the people in the southern France did not accept English rule. In 1428, the English began to invade southern France. However, a young peasant girl by the name of Joan of Arc took leadership of the French army. She led the French to a victory at Orleans in 1429. She led the French to several more victories before she was captured by the English and burned at the stake. The French were inspired by Joan of Arc's leadership and sacrifice. They continued to fight back, and they pushed the English army out of France, taking Bordeaux in 1453, signaling the end of the Hundred Years' War. During all this time, it was impossible to forget that French was the language of an enemy country, and the Hundred Years' War is probably to be renowned as one of the causes contributing to the disuse of French.